Africa should immediately lead the United Nations if it doesn't get not one, but two permanent United Nations Security Council seats. Welcome to Tunachiki's Africa in the News. I'm Mike Mushi, and this is the show where we look at how Western media covers Africa. And in a week where the biased EU resolution on Ethiopia at the United Nations Human Rights Council calling for international intervention in the current conflict based on false media news report was circulating around, we asked the question, should Africa stay in the United Nations based on all the failures that has happened? Before we continue, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It really helps the channel out a lot. Thank you to all our members and all our Patreons who directly support and help us to do what we do. We really appreciate you, and we are almost close to 1 million subscribers, and we'd urge you to continue subscribing and sharing our channels to fellow Africans, both on the continent and in the diaspora. So before we continue, let's do a bit of a recap of what's going on. Just recently, African presidents, prominent African president like South Africa's president Cyril Ramaphosa, President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, and Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed have called for Africa to have permanent representation in the United Nations Security Council. So people might be wondering, why is this important? So this is important because technically the United Nations, out of all the nations, the 55 African countries who represent the United Nations, plus all the other nations that represent the United Nations, only 5 nations actually technically control the United Nations. They have the power to veto, they have the power to make resolutions and make decisions that actually get passed to the General Assembly. So you might think the United Nations is this democratic entity. No, but it's just a dictatorship of 5 permanent members. So these permanent members are China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These are the countries that technically control what the United Nations does. So you might ask, how is this important? How is it related to the current situation in Ethiopia? And why is it important for Africa to have a permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council? So let's do a quick history recap. So the United Nations, called the League of Nations, was formed after World War II by these like nations who mostly participated in the war to make sure that wars like this never happened again, right? So what most of you don't know, during this time where all these nations were saying Kumbaya and the world should come together, most of these nations were colonizing Africa. They were doing like massacres, genocides in Africa, and Africa wasn't at the table. This is the seed that developed into the United Nations with all its racist backgrounds, with all its condescending and patronizing behaviors that carry on till today. Coming back to Ethiopia, with 2 permanent Security Council seat, Africa has the power to determine what should happen in Ethiopia. Not these European countries that sit down and say, hey, we should interfere in Ethiopia and tell them what to do, send troops, support the terrorists, support the rebels. This is what's currently happening, and this is the status quo. So with this permanent security seats, Africa will have the power to veto. You're like, no, you're not interfering with Ethiopia. This is an internal matter. This is an African matter. This matter should only be handled by the African Union at most, right? If it spills over. So the African countries who are sitting at the Security Council as permanent members would have this power to tell off these European countries, to tell off the United States, to tell off the United Kingdom. So this is what we want. And this is why these African presidents are calling, are saying Africa needs these permanent seats at the Security Council. And it's not this is not the first time. Africa has been calling for permanent seats since Mugabe, since Gaddafi, since most of these countries got independence and joined the United Nations. They'll be like, hey, okay, the United Nations has changed. We need more representations, not these powers that control the world as if it's like the playground, which is currently the status quo. So the United Nations has failed Africa, in short. Let's not be kind about it. Let's be blunt. The United Nations has failed Africa. And these are just some few examples of how this prestigious body called the United Nations has failed Africa. So let's start in the DR Congo. In the DR Congo, the United Nations mission had failed to protect the civilians from the militants in the east of the country. Despite the mission presence, civilians continue to suffer at the hands of militias who continue to receive arms from individual arm dealers, while United Nations members continue to loot resources like gold, diamonds from the country. This has been widely reported, and even some have been convicted. These so-called peacekeepers in DR Congo are actually the ones who are helping to loot the country. So this is a travesty and a shame, and it just goes to show you that some people can come to help you, but they're actually the problem. Another example is in the 1994 Rwanda genocide, officials and locals notified the head of the United Nations peacekeeping force about the impending danger. The warnings were ignored, but instead, Western embassies in Kigali arranged the withdrawal of citizens, claiming the conflict had nothing to do with Europeans, leaving 1 million Africans to be slaughtered, 1 million Rwandese to be slaughtered. Furthermore, to add on this, the United Nations officials in Belgium allegedly helped the Ministry of Defense in Belgium to supply arms to Hutu extremists, making them directly complicit in genocide. So here, we cannot blame them for not doing anything. They actually did the opposite. Instead of helping de-escalating the situations, they added, they gave the people who wanted to do harm weapons. Right? And this is such a travesty, and just goes to show you that people who come bearing gifts are not good people. Case in point, like colonists, they came with their Bible, we ended up being colonized. So another one in Darfur, the United Nations mission failed to bring peace to Western Darfur. The failure was not a surprise since it was a competition of power between European Union and the African Union. The rivalry between the two parties affected the ability to operate. So this one was very sad because like it was the African Union wanted to actually do something in Darfur to help stop the killing, but the United Nations, feeling that its authority was being undermined by like a up and coming African Union, they tried to sabotage them, and it ended up with the suffering of the people of Darfur. Okay, another example, just recently in Libya, the United Nations failure led to a full-on civil war that saw a once prosperous North African country turn into a failed state, while enabling oil flow cheaply to Europe via Benghazi oil terminals. So in addition to all the thousands of sexual assault cases, United Nations peacekeepers have been accused and some convicted of, and also all the disrespect that African presidents get at the United Nations General Assembly. Nobody going to see their speeches, nobody going to paying attention to what they're saying. Some other people condescending and like making fun of their speeches. So this is the kind of things we talk about. So in conclusion, what should Africa do about all these failures? Why has the United Nations peacekeeping, humanitarian activities mostly failed in Africa, right? Our conclusion is that because it's not Africans who have been making the decisions, it's not Africans who have been saying, hey, this needs to be solved, this needs to be left alone, this needs to be solved like this. It's foreigners who know nothing about the current situation, who know nothing about the optics in the country, who do not know why things are happening the way they're happening. They just come in with their solutions. When they fail, they leave. That has been the template of the United Nations since its formation and since its involvement in Africa, starting from Belgium, right? And look at DR Congo right now. Case in point. So Africa needs to have these 2 permanent seats with veto power so that they can start making decisions on Africa for Africa, not other countries doing the same for Africa. So thank you for watching, and please let me know in the comments below about this topic. Should Africa build up the African Union and leave the United Nations immediately, regardless of Security Council seats or not? should Africa like demand these Security Council seats and through that change the behavior of the United Nations towards Africa? Or should Africa like altogether start its own new organizations with other friendly regions like the Caribbean, like Oceania, like other regions that might be interested in having our own organization to tackle things that affect Africans and the other regions. So let us know in the comments below. I'm really curious about this topic because it's a very taboo topic. Nobody wants to touch it. If you're politicians or you have any ranking in the media or anything. So feel free anonymously, tell us what you think. Does Africa need the United Nations or not? We'd like to hear suggestions. So with that said, thank you for watching our series Africa in the News this month so far. The series has been doing so good. All videos have gotten more than 100,000 views and going up. We really appreciate the support for this series that we do. And coming the next year, we'll do more of this criticism of what's going on towards Africa, and like together with our normal programming. We appreciate you. Make sure to first of all like, it really helps us a lot. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get all our latest videos, and we say a big thank you to all our members, channel members, and our Patreons and our donors. We really appreciate you because you guys actually directly give us funds to do what we do, and we really appreciate it from the bottom of our heart. And if you're interested with all the cool African merch that I always rock when doing these videos, check out our merch store. It's tunachiki.shop. It's just simple. Just go to your browser, tunachiki.shop. We've got very many different types of shirts, outfits, accessories that you can rock. Somebody asked me in the comments why I always wear black. Personally, I've always worn black. I personally wear black because the struggle still continues. Africa is still under neocolonialism. Africa is still being oppressed. So the day Africa, I feel personally, Africa is fully free, I'll wear any colors that you want, okay? So with that said, this is Mike Mushi, and we'll check you out in the next one. Bye-bye.